What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. Like I said, I'm doing two more videos about Pendulum Magician. I just didn't want to spend an entire week on it, so I'm doing them all today. I'm just purging myself of all Pendulum content that I have left, especially because one of them is just another gameplay video. But I wanted to show you these two combos, or they're more test hands because they're kind of random. I think the first video is a great pillar for you guys to learn from, but it is more than that. Basically, have a wide open landscape, and I'll just kind of show you and give you my ideology. It all depends on what you draw, right? So here I have a pretty decent opening, without a doubt. I have some draw cards, I have way to search, and it's actually important to get spells in your graveyard as well. To use spells and everything, because that way your Celine is always online. It's just something to keep in mind. So I'm literally going to take this step by step. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do at first is activate Pendulum Call. There's a lot of stuff you really don't want to banish off of Pot of Desires. It's a bit of a last case scenario. And like I said, having spells in the graveyard is important. Because if you end up using one of your scales, Celine has spell counters equal to the number of spells on the field and graveyard. So if I were to pitch a monster and then later in the turn use Meteor Burst, wouldn't be able to use Celine. Now I can. That's just kind of specific to this hand. But I'm going to go ahead and search everything that I need. So at this point, the core of the combo is intact, right? I'm going to have technically a way to go into Needle Fiber for multiple reasons, right? Tuning Magician can actually be Pendulum Summon, as if you have Supreme K 0. This can be Pendulum Summon, but Crystal Needle Fiber doesn't require a tuner, non-tuner. It just requires to have a tuner in it. I don't think I use it in this case, but I have used it for that before. Alright, so now I can use a lure, because I already have a tuner, right? So technically I'm fine. I'm going to be able to get the other one off of Needle Fiber. So most likely I'll be banishing this. Depends on what I draw. A Lure of Darkness, and go two more deep. And what I think I'm probably going to go ahead and banish is, yeah, the Black Fang Magician. And the reason I did it, besides the fact that I want as much tuners as possible, is Tuning Magician special summons itself from the hand or graveyard if you have two Magicians. So pendulum monsters in my pendulum zone, so I've already searched them, so I know it's going to happen. And also, like I've always told you, you want to be able to get into Krishan Needle Fiber before you pendulum summon. So now that I have Curtain Raiser, I can actually do that, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and special summon the Curtain Raiser. Now I can activate my scales. I'll probably normal summon, it doesn't really matter, Tuning Magician or Harmonizing. If you actually have a lot of monsters in your hand, Pendulum Summoning first isn't the worst thing in the world, because actually what you can do, if you Pendulum Summon the Harmonizing and you end up bringing it back later, you just kind of give yourself a tuner for later in the turn. I think I have that in the gameplay video, but let's assume you're operating off of this. Your opponent gains 400, you lose 400 life points, who cares? Alright, so now we're going into Halley Fibrax. Halley Fibrax for me is always going to summon the red rose. It replaces itself. You can bring back the red rose with cross sheep. It's really good interactions there. It's kind of going to be the core of your just combos all the time. And now you can go ahead and pendulum summon. And you can pendulum summon the Harmonizing and the Curtain Raiser. That can give you a Time Gazer. 3s and 4s, super important. Alright, and now like I said, Tuning Magician can special summon itself from the graveyard. Lots of tuners, not a bad thing at all. I can convert these quite easily. And the thing that you'll notice about this full board, you'll always basically be staring this down. You want to tune or synchro summon first with your non-magician monsters, meaning the Curtain Raiser is going to be one of your main targets that you're going to want to get off the field. Because Harmonizing Magician can only XYZ summon and synchro with other magicians. Now you can link summon with Harmonizing, doesn't have that restriction because link monsters didn't exist at that point in the game, but just keep that in mind. So like I said, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm using the Magicians. I'm going to go into Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon, not triggering the Red Rose yet. You don't want to trigger it too early. Like, you don't want to synchro summon first when you have a full board, because you want to be able to use Meteor Burst Dragon to special summon a scale, and you want to use Red Rose's ability to special summon the White Rose from the deck. And I think I messed up on one of my replays there. Okay, so now I'm in a little bit of a pickle, because I need to get the Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon in one of these zones, and they're all taken up. Not a big deal. You just got to get a little creative here. So I'm going to free up the zone by going into F.A. Don Dragster. And now I have an extra zone, so Black Rose is going to trigger. And it's going to get me a White Rose. Again, I have to make sure I keep this zone open. So now that it's open, I'll be perfectly fine. You can go into a cross sheet. That's going to trigger Absolute Dragon, and the Vortex is going to now come from the extra deck. And since a fusion monster is special summon from the zone, I can bring back my level 3 tuner. Okay, so this is where you're at now, and you may think, okay, well, you can go maybe into another 7 if you want. There's one more option, and one that you may not be thinking of, and if you saw the deck profile, I'm sure you can guess this. It's a Rusty Bardiche. So sometimes it's a little awkward, right? Like right there, what would I have done normally? Maybe go into an Appaloosa, I'm not sure. But I like to have more evenly dispersed boards. I don't want to lose a Dark Ruler no more, that's for sure. And of course it's going to hurt this board if that happens, but take a look what happens now. Phantom Knights is going to go ahead and set a Boot, so I can set a Fog Blade. And then Boots can banish itself to set another Fog Blade. So when you get super polymerization, which everyone and their mother seems to be playing right now, you still have, likely you'll still have the Odd Eyes Vortex and the 2 Fog Blade. If they Dark Ruler no more, you still have 2 monster negates on the field, and most of the time that's going to be enough depending on the strategy. So that was combo number 1. Let's go into combo number 2. It's a little more unique. Again, this is more of a test hand. Just using what I have right in my hand. I'll probably go into the Void first to see if I can get a good scale. It's really important. I draw into another Duelist Alliance, not perfect, so definitely need to go into an Allure. I have to get a Pendulum monster at this point. And now my plays are really starting to open up. I could probably banish the Black Fang again, which is fine. And I can send off a Foolish Burial. I can send the Supreme King. Supreme King effect, since I control no monsters, can special summon itself from the graveyard. And when it's special summoned, I can get the gate 0. And now I have a Pendulum scale that I can put down for Duelist Alliance, which is what I'm going to go ahead and do. Duelist Alliance is going to get me Pendulum Call. And since I have an extra spell in my hand, or Duelist Alliance I should say, now I can search whatever I need. Since I have a low scale, I need to search a high one. I'm not going to be able to get this back to my hand, so it's important that I probably normal summon the Tuning Magician to get this combo off. Plus you have already drawn this Fog Blade, which is pretty decent in and of itself. Dragon Pit can come down. I can normal summon the Tuning Magician, and that'll help me go into Krishan Halifibrax, of course. Halifibrax is going to get the Black Rose Dragon. So it's kind of starting off pretty similar, but I think last time I ended up Pendulum summoning a 3, so it became a little awkward, but we'll see where I go with this now. And I can get another level 4. So this is a completely different way, right? Because a lot of times you summon Time Gazer, but when you have the extra 4 that you can use, you can actually go in this combo route. And you'll see here. And another thing is, last time I had full zones. And this time I have 1 extra one. So when you have 1 extra zone, you almost always want to Synchro Summon first using Red Rose Dragon into Meteor Burst. You just have that added luxury. Meteor Burst is going to special summon the Dragon Pit, and that'll also get me the White Rose from the deck. And now all my zones are filled, right? I can go into the Absolute Dragon, convert those into Cross Sheep, very similar to last time. And that's the Vortex. Vortex is going to bring back the Black Rose Dragon. Okay, so when you have all these 4s, now you're opening yourself up to a whole lot of plays. And be sure when you Synchro Summon with the Black Rose, you almost try to do it with White Rose. Like I said, this can only tune or XYZ summon with other Magician Pendulum monsters. That can go into an F.A. Don Dragster. And you can convert the 2 level 4s into a Borreload Savage Dragon, equipping the Krishan Needle Fiber. So this is an Omni Negate, this is an Omni Negate, and this is a Spell Negate. Plus I have the Fog Blade, which I drew, which is just kind of extra. Hopefully this little step-by-step combo tutorial gave you a better idea of some of your route trees and combos. Be sure to check out the other step-by-step combo I did, which is a little more traditional. But those are just kind of, work with what you got in your hand. And, hopefully you guys enjoyed the day, or the video today. And there's going to be one more, it's gameplay, so be sure to check that out. Have a great night.